Good morning, everyone. Breaking news and daily life updates are rolling in. The US raided Venezuela and arrested President Maduro and his wife, shocking the global oil market. Malaysia's second round of 100 ringgit basic assistance will be distributed next month. Grocery store owners must not miss it. The Prime Minister's visit to Turkey, stock indices hitting all-time highs. The new My Digital ID regulation taking effect, and the hidden truth behind the tragic incident in Terengganu. Every piece of news today is relevant to you and me, so stay tuned for the latest updates. Our Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has arrived in Turkey for a 3-day official visit. His special plane landed safely at Ankara Esenboga International Airport in Turkey at 12:13 a.m. Malaysian time, with a smooth and safe journey. Upon arrival, the Prime Minister wasted no time in having dinner and interacting with local business figures and Malaysian expatriates in Turkey. And the atmosphere was particularly warm. There are many key arrangements for this official visit. The Prime Minister will hold a one-on-one meeting with Turkish President Erdoğan, and the two will jointly chair the first high-level strategic committee between the two countries, which is an important opportunity to deepen bilateral cooperation. After the meeting, the Prime Minister will also travel to Istanbul to hold a roundtable meeting with local Turkish enterprises, focusing on strengthening economic cooperation between the two countries to take the long-standing bilateral relations between Malaysia and Turkey to a new level. Whether it is political communication or economic docking, this official visit undertakes the important mission of promoting multi-field cooperation between the two countries. And we will continue to pay attention to subsequent developments. Speaking of the Prime Minister's official visit, let's move on to another domestic political news. Bersatu has recently made an important disciplinary decision to expel Datuk Seri Saifuddin Abdallah, Member of Parliament for Andara Makota, from the party for violating the party constitution, and the sanction takes effect immediately. The person concerned, Saifuddin, has clearly stated that he will file an appeal as soon as possible to safeguard his rights and interests. It is understood that Bersatu's disciplinary committee held a special meeting the day before yesterday and reached this decision to expel him from the party after discussions. When accepting an interview with Berita Harian, Saifuddin confirmed the news and said he received the expulsion letter from the disciplinary committee yesterday. The letter stated that he violated Article 9.1.4 of the party constitution. But it is confusing that it did not specify the specific violations. Saifuddin said he will formally file an appeal in the next few days and will not let this matter slide. It is worth noting that Saifuddin is not only a member of parliament but also a supreme councillor of Bersatu. He previously publicly called for the resignation of party chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, and was dismissed from the position of Perak PN chairman in October last year. This expulsion from the party will undoubtedly have a certain impact on Bersatu's internal structure, and we will continue to follow up on the progress of the appeal. There is also good news in the political field. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has clearly stated that he will continue to support the current unity government until the end of its term. As the chairman of BN and UMNO, Ahmad Zahid said that UMNO's political bureau held a special meeting to discuss this matter and finally decided UMNO will never rock the boat, will always stand with the unity government, and firmly reject all proposals related to a backdoor government. This statement can be said to have given a shot in the arm to Malaysia's current political situation, avoiding unnecessary turbulence in domestic political forces, and also providing important party support for the unity government's subsequent smooth governance, helping to build consensus and promote the development of various national affairs. Next, let's turn our attention to the international focus. This news has shocked the world. The US raided Venezuela, directly arrested Venezuelan President Maduro and his wife, and extradited them to New York, USA, to stand trial on charges related to terrorism and drugs. On Monday local time, Maduro and his wife appeared in court in Manhattan, New York. Faced with the U.S. charges, Maduro clearly denied all charges, emphasized his innocence, and even said he was kidnapped to the U.S., insisting that he is still the legitimate president of Venezuela. His wife also denied the relevant charges and refused to admit the charges brought by the U.S. at present. This case has been scheduled to start trial on March 17th, and the subsequent trial results have attracted global attention. To conduct an in-depth analysis of the impact of this raid on the global oil market and the economic and trade pattern of Latin America, our morning news today specially invites Mr. Lim Chiok Fung, Executive Director of Yufeng Group, to discuss with us. Good morning, Chiok Fung. Simulated interaction, thank you very much for being here. As we all know, Venezuela is one of the countries with the largest oil reserves in the world. Many people thought that this move by the US would trigger violent fluctuations in the global oil market. But the actual situation was somewhat unexpected. The oil price response was relatively mild. Why is that? Chiok Fung explained that after this incident, oil prices only rose slightly and failed to break through $60 at all, and US crude oil prices even fell significantly last night. In the short term, both Brent crude oil and US crude oil have been hovering in the range of $55 to $60, without the sharp rise caused by the war that everyone was worried about. There are three main reasons. First, the short-term impact of the incident faded quickly. Although Venezuela's political power is not yet fully stable, the overall situation has not fallen into a state of war, so the market panic has gradually eased. Second, the global crude oil market is currently in a state of serious oversupply. US crude oil production hit an all-time high in the second half of 2025, exceeding 13.8 million barrels per day. In addition, countries such as Brazil, Guyana, and OPEC member states have been increasing production, making the supply side quite sufficient. Third, in fact, before this operation, the Trump administration had imposed a maritime blockade on Venezuela for a long time, and Venezuela's crude oil exports have been affected for a long time. This situation has long been digested by the market. Therefore, even if an unexpected incident occurs, it will not lead to a sharp rise in oil prices due to a sudden sharp reduction in crude oil supply. What will the long-term trend of oil prices be? Chiok Fung said that in the long run, oil prices may be in a bearish state. Because after the fall of the Maduro regime, the market generally expects the US to lift the export ban on Venezuela. Western oil giants such as Chevron have long been preparing to repair Venezuela's oil infrastructure. If Venezuela's new government can get the US endorsement, it is expected that Venezuela's daily crude oil production will increase by 500,000 to 1 million barrels in about 2 years. This will undoubtedly further aggravate the oversupply in the global crude oil market. And in the long run, oil prices may be suppressed below $50 per barrel. In addition to the oil market, what chain reactions will this incident have on the economic and trade pattern of Latin America? Chiok Fung believes that this is definitely a point of great concern to everyone. This US operation can be said to have had a chilling effect on left-wing countries or non-US camp countries around the world. Moreover, the US's approach this time is very sophisticated. It defines the operation as a law enforcement operation rather than a war. This definition is not simple. On the one hand, it bypasses the US Congress's declaration of war process, allowing the US government to advance relevant actions more quickly without being constrained by the congressional declaration of war procedure. On the other hand, it lowers the threshold of the so-called respect for national sovereignty at the international law level. For Latin American economic and trade, compliance risks have now replaced the previous political risks as the primary consideration for everyone. The biggest risk in the future is that any trade conducted by a government defined as a criminal group by the US may be subject to physical attacks, not just financial or logistical sanctions, and financial sanctions may be implemented immediately. This extreme practice of long-arm jurisdiction will make left-wing countries in Latin America such as Brazil, Colombia, and Cuba feel very uneasy. Therefore, in the short term, capital flows within the Latin American region will definitely tend to be conservative. Risk aversion will further heat up, and many investments may flow back to the US. Moreover, as Venezuela's situation may move towards pro-US, the energy and mineral supply chains in southern Latin America may be forced to reintegrate into the North American market to avoid similar sanctions. In addition, Venezuela was once a member of OPEC, if a pattern of US shale oil plus US-funded controlled Venezuelan production capacity is formed in the future. It may completely end OPEC Plus's pricing power over global oil prices. Another point worthy of attention is that Venezuela was once a pioneer in trying to replace the US dollar with the RMB for settlement. The US's move this time is actually sending a signal to non-US camp countries around the world. The cost of decoupling from the US dollar may not only be economic isolation but also the elimination of the regime. This may affect the progress of de-dollarization in other regions such as Africa, forcing many commodity trades to flow back to the US dollar settlement system. Thank you very much to Yufeng for bringing us in-depth analysis, which has given us a clearer understanding of the impact of this international incident. Talking about the international focus, let's look at the dynamics in the global economy and oil market. Investors are optimistic about the development prospects of the artificial intelligence field and the overall global economic trend. This positive expectation has kept the stock market rising since the start of the year, and the performance of the three major U.S. stock indices is particularly impressive. At the close on Tuesday local time, the three major U.S. stock indices all hit all-time highs, showing strong market vitality. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose sharply by 484 points, closing at 49,462 points. This increase fully reflects the growing confidence in traditional industries, finance, and other sectors. The S&P 500 index rose by 42 points, closing at 6,944 points. As an important indicator reflecting the overall economic situation of the U.S., its rise also reflects the balanced development of various segments of the U.S. economy. The Nasdaq Composite Index rose by 151 points, closing at 23,547 points. This highlights that technology companies, especially those related to artificial intelligence, are widely favored by investors. The development potential of these companies has been fully recognized by the market, and they have also become an important driving force for the rise of stock indices. However, in contrast to the strong performance of the stock market, international crude oil prices have shown a downward trend. As of 9 a.m. this morning, New York crude oil prices fell by 90 cents to $56 per barrel. Brent crude oil prices fell by more than $1, with the price per barrel less than $61. Combined with Yufeng's previous analysis, whether in the short term or long term, international oil prices will not see a sharp rise, and will generally maintain a relatively stable or moderately downward trend. Turning our attention back to Malaysia's livelihood and business sectors, there is good news to share with everyone. The second round of 100 ringgit basic assistance provided by the government will be distributed next month. This is a major event related to the daily life of our people and the business of grocery store owners. So grocery store owners must hurry up to register for the Mygarce program, otherwise their business may be greatly affected. Fang Ziming, president of the Grocers Association, reminded everyone that based on the experience last year, stores participating in the Mygarce program all achieved good business performance, while those not participating invisibly lost about a quarter of their business. And in severe cases, it may decrease by 20% to 30%. Some friends may think that 100 ringgit is not much. But Fang Ziming said that this amount of money is actually very practical for people to buy daily necessities. Especially for families with multiple members, combining the assistance funds of family members will be fully sufficient. Data released by the Ministry of Finance shows that more than 10,000 businesses have participated in the Mygarce program so far, and it is expected that another 10,000 small stores will join this year. The advancement of this program can not only effectively help people reduce their living burdens, make everyone feel the care of the government, but also effectively drive the development of the grocery industry, provide more business opportunities for small grocery stores, promote the stable development of domestic retail industry, and at the same time enhance everyone's recognition and support for the government's livelihood policies. So grocery store owners who haven't registered yet must hurry up and don't miss this good opportunity. Let's look at another good news about the optimization of government services. Another important government service in Malaysia will adopt My Digital ID as the only identity verification method. This time it involves the mobile application under the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Malaysian Immigration Comprehensive e-Service MyNICE system. The Ministry of Home Affairs has clearly announced through an official statement that starting from the 15th of this month, Malaysian citizens must use My Digital ID to log in to the MyNICE system, while foreigners can continue to use the existing method to log in. The Ministry of Home Affairs emphasized that this adjustment brings many benefits. On the one hand, it can significantly improve the security of the system, effectively prevent risks such as account theft and personal information leakage, and provide stronger protection for everyone's information security. On the other hand, it can greatly improve the convenience of use. Everyone no longer has to worry about remembering multiple accounts and passwords, and can complete the login only through My Digital ID, which simplifies the operation process and saves a lot of time. At present, the MyNICE system has been applied at the checkpoints between Malaysia and Singapore, providing efficient and convenient immigration clearance services for people traveling between the two countries. According to the plan, in the near future, this system will further expand its application scope to cover major international airports in Malaysia such as Kuala Lumpur, Penang, Sarawak, and Sabah. This expansion can not only further improve the clearance efficiency of Malaysia's international airports, provide a better travel experience for domestic and foreign passengers, but also help improve Malaysia's immigration management level and promote the development of the tourism industry. As an important infrastructure for Malaysia's digital transformation, the wide application of My Digital ID in more and more government services not only reflects the government's determination to improve service efficiency and optimize service experience but also reflects Malaysia's steady progress in digital construction. It is believed that with more government services accessing the My Digital ID verification system, everyone will be able to enjoy more convenient, safe, and efficient government services in the future, and the level of digital life will also be further improved. Finally, let's pay attention to a social security incident that happened in Malaysia, which has made many people feel very sad. The day before yesterday, a serious traffic accident occurred in Terengganu, where a female college student was hit by a car and unfortunately died. This incident has attracted widespread attention from the local society. Ashri, director of Terengganu Tourism, subsequently confirmed the relevant details. The driver suspected of running a red light and causing the accident is a 32-year-old man named Zhao Huo. Surprisingly, the driver has a history of mental illness and has received relevant treatment in the hospital. He suffers from major depressive disorder, commonly known as MDD. What's more shocking is that before the incident, the driver also robbed a Honda car, and a series of his actions have been suspected of multiple violations of the law. After the incident, the driver was rushed to the hospital for treatment due to a fractured right hand. At present, the police have intervened in the investigation of this case and plan to arrest him during or after his treatment to conduct an in-depth investigation to find out the detailed process of the accident, the driver's motive for the crime, and the specific circumstances of his previous illegal acts such as robbing the car. As a serious mental illness, major depressive disorder can indeed have a significant impact on the patient's cognition, judgment, and behavior. This incident has also triggered widespread attention and discussion in the community about the driving safety of people with mental illnesses. Many people call on relevant departments to strengthen the review and management of the driving qualifications of people with mental illnesses to prevent similar safety accidents from happening at the source. This incident has not only brought great grief to the victim's family but also adversely affected the local social security order. At present, local people generally expect the police to find out the truth as soon as possible and punish the perpetrator in accordance with the law to safeguard the dignity of the law and social fairness and justice. At the same time, this incident has also sounded the alarm for Malaysian society. Relevant departments need to further strengthen traffic management and severely crack down on traffic violations such as running red lights. On the other hand, they also need to improve the management mechanism for people with mental illnesses, strengthen attention and support for this special group, prevent them from causing various safety accidents due to illness, and effectively protect the lives and property safety of the general public. The above are all the main contents brought to you by today's morning news. From Malaysia's domestic politics and livelihood services to international focus events, global economic dynamics, and the sad social security incident, We hope to let you fully understand the latest information. Thank you for watching. I'm Du Wenji. Wish you a smooth and peaceful day, and we'll see you in the noon news later.